practice and non-attachment. Two core principles. Practice, Abhyasa, and non-attachment, Vairagya, are the two core principles on which the entire system of yoga rests. It is through the cultivation of these two that the other practices evolve, by which mastery over the mind field occurs, and allows the realization of the true self. Abhyasa, practice. Abhyasa means having an attitude of persistent effort to attain and maintain a state of stable tranquility. To become well established, this needs to be done for a long time, without a break. From this stance the deeper practice continues to unfold, going ever deeper towards the direct experience of the eternal core of our being. Vairagya, non-attachment. The essential companion is non-attachment, learning to let go of the many attachments, aversions, fears, and false identities that are clouding the true self. They work together. Practice leads you in the right direction, while non-attachment allows you to continue the inner journey without getting sidetracked into the pains and pleasures along the way. Supreme non-attachment. Gradually, non-attachment expands to the depth of the subtlest building blocks, gunas or qualities, of ourselves and the universe, which is called Vairagya, supreme non-attachment. Eventually the three gunas resolve back into their cores during deep meditation, leading to final liberation. These thought patterns, vrittis, are mastered, nirodha, regulated, coordinated, controlled, stilled, quieted, through practice, Abhyasa, and non-attachment, Vairagya. Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam tat nirodha. Two practices, Abhyasa and Vairagya, are companion practices, and are the means of mastering, nirodha, the many levels of mind, so as to experience the true self. All of the many other practices of yoga rest on these two principles. Two directions. There are two directions that one can go in life as well as individual actions, speech, or thoughts. One direction is towards truth, reality, self, or spiritual realization. The other direction is opposite, and involves those lifestyles, actions, speech, and thoughts that take one away from the higher experiences. Discrimination is key. To be able to do the practices and to cultivate non-attachment, it is necessary to become better and better at discriminating between what actions, speech, and thoughts take you in the right direction, and those which are a diversion. This discrimination is both a foundation practice and also the subtler tool of the inner journey. Practice, Abhyasa, means choosing, applying the effort, and doing those actions that bring a stable and tranquil state, sthitau. Tatra sthitau yatna Abhyasa. Two words for practice. There are two different words that are often translated into English as practice. One is Abhyasa and the other is sadhana, which is the title of chapter 2 of the Yoga Sutras, Sadhana Pada. It is important to understand the difference between these two words. When that practice is done for a long time, without a break, and with sincere devotion, then the practice becomes a firmly rooted, stable and solid foundation. Shatu Durja Kala Nirantara Satkara Asevadadriya Pume. Keep practicing. One of the most important principles of living yoga meditation is that of continuing to practice without a break. Often a meditator gets started, practices for a few weeks or months, and then stops for a while due to some life situation. Then, he or she starts over again. While it is good to start again, it is better to choose a level of practice that you know you can maintain without a break. If, for example, you try to practice 2 to 3 hours per day when you are well aware you do not consistently have that much time in your current lifestyle, it is a setup for breaking practice. It's far better to choose an amount of time that you can consistently practice. Choose your level of practice. Because of the importance of consistency of practice, one of the later sutras, 1.21 to 1.22, suggests that you choose one of 9 levels of practice to which you commit yourself. Q&A on practices leading to tranquility. Q. I have a pretty busy life. How long do I have to do these practices? A. A long time. Keep going and never give up, whether a long time means days, weeks, months, or years. Surrender, yes, but give up? Never. Q. I'm not sure I have my heart in this. Can I just plod along with a bad attitude and still make progress? A. Do the practices leading to tranquility with all the conviction, devotion and sincerity you can muster. Cultivate the positive and let go of the negative. Gentle, loving persistence is the way to peace. Q. How often can I take a break from this? What if I'm too tired, or too busy some days? Can I take a vacation from these practices and just pick up where I left off?
A. No breaks. We eat food every day. We sleep every day. We use the toilet every day. We gossip with other people or have negative thoughts and emotions every day.
If we can do all these things every day, then we can do the practices leading to tranquility each and every day, without exception. Q. What's the payoff from all of this work? This sounds pretty hard, doing this for such a long time without even a vacation.
What's in it for me?
A. You will get a practice that has become a firmly rooted, stable foundation for the subtler experiences that you are longing for in your heart.
One day, you will come to see that your practices are a beautifully elegant, simple and rewarding part of your life. You will truly find that this is the most valued asset you have. It will leave a smile on your face.
Develop attitude. The attitude Satkara contains the principles of devotion, sincerity, respect, reverence, positiveness, and right choice. As you choose your proper level of practice, and decide to do that daily, the attitude will come more easily. It is like having a little flame of desire in the heart for the fruits of meditation, and then slowly starting to experience those benefits. That little flame starts to grow slowly and consistently into a burning desire to guide your life in the direction of spiritual realization.
It all rests on attention. Throughout the science of yoga meditation, attention is a critical principle to practice.
This sharp, clear, assiduous attention, asavita, is essential if you are to develop the attitude of conviction for practices over a long time, and without a break as described in this sutra. Attention, attention, attention
is the formula to follow, though done in loving kindness towards yourself. Top.
When the mind loses desire even for objects seen or described in a tradition or in scriptures, it acquires a state of utter, vashikara, desirelessness that is called non-attachment, vairagya. Drista anyushravika vishaya vitrishnasaya vashikara sanjana vairagyam.
Letting go and not taking on. The simplest way of describing non-attachment is as the process of letting go.
We gradually learn to let go of our attachments and aversions, systematically moving subtler and subtler through the layers of attachments in the mind. However, non-attachment goes beyond this. It is not just a practice of letting go, but is a practice of not taking on in the first place.
Love is what is left when you let go of all the things you love.
Non-attachment is not suppression. Non-attachment is not a mere personality trait that one practices in dealing with the other people of the world. It is very easy to fool oneself into thinking that non-attachment is being practiced when what is really happening is pretending to be non-attached.
It is like saying that you have lost your inner craving to some object while inside you are longing for it intensely.
Non-attachment is not a process of suppression or repression of wants, wishes, desires, thoughts, or emotions. It comes by the ongoing practice of awareness of the existence of attachments, kleshas, and gradually letting these weaken. Non-attachment is cessation. If attachment does occur, whether attraction or aversion, wherein attention wraps itself around a deep mental impression, the ensuing non-attachment comes from the cessation of mental clinging, not from an act of prying attention away forcefully. It is easy to hear of the philosophy of non-attachment and then mistakenly walk around lying to ourselves, internally saying something like, "I'm not attached, I'm not attached."
This is not non-attachment.
It is better to see realistically where our minds are attached, and then learn to systematically release that coloring through the external and internal practices of yoga meditation.
Non-attachment is not detachment. It is not mere semantics to say that non-attachment is different from detachment. Detachment implies that there is first attachment, and that you then apply some method or technique to disconnect that attachment.
It implies an act of doing something to cause the separation to occur.
Non-attachment, on the other hand, means that the connection simply does not occur in the first place. Non-attachment is not a case of doing something, but is instead a non-doing sort of thing. It means that your attention does not grab onto that impression in the mind in the first place. Like two ex-smokers, while the principle applies to all the gross and subtle levels, a gross level example will help.
Think of two people who stopped smoking many years ago. One is still attached to cigarettes, and when he sees a cigarette, the craving begins.
When he resists acting on that desire, and then lets go of the desire, this is the meaning of detachment.
The other person also used to smoke, But when he sees a cigarette, there is literally no reaction. The desire has completely disappeared at all levels of his conscious and unconscious mind.
This is the meaning of non-attachment.
The attachment is not released, but is simply not there anymore. It is none or the absence of attachment. Non-attachment deepens through all levels. Patanjali explains that non-attachment applies to progressively deeper levels of our being. While we might begin with our more surface-level attachments, such as the objects and people of daily life, the practice deepens to include all of the objects or experiences we might have only heard about, including the many powers or experiences of the psychic or subtle realm. We gradually see that even these are nothing but distractions on the journey to self-realization, and we learn to set them aside as well.
What to do with attachments? As you are reading this current sutra on non-attachment, it is useful to keep the perspective that the whole process of yoga has to do with the mastery and integration of the fluctuations of the mind field.
This allows the seer to rest in its true nature, the state of self-realization. By also being mindful of the broad categories or clusters of sutras, as clustered on this site, it is relatively easy to see that we gradually need to stabilize the mind, weaken those attachments, and then start the ongoing process of letting them go entirely.
In the meantime, we seek the direct experience of the Absolute, so that we might do an even more efficient job of letting go of the attachments.